Most gardeners are closer to succession planting than they actually realise. And in today's video, we shall walk you through the 3 pillars that we use for successful succession sowing. Succession can seem like a scary word to some people. So let's replace that word with monthly sowings, because it's all it is. You're just adding something else into your monthly sowing routine. The reason I say that most gardeners are closer to it than they think is because if you think about it, every single plant that you transplant out into your plots is actually a succession sowing or planting. Even if you harvested something in September but didn't replant until March, you've still succeeded what was there in September. Most of us sow our seeds in March, April, May, and we have an abundance of food to eat through June, July, August and September. But the problem is, once we pass that point, the beds become bare and there's no longer anything for us to eat. So we look to grow our vegetables all year round so that we always have something fresh to pick from the garden. You will have all heard of the hungry gap. Most of us think of the hungry gap as something that occurs from sort of late February through March, April and May until the first harvest come in June. But actually, a lot of gardeners, they actually experience 2 hunger gaps. They'll experience one in the autumn and winter and one in late winter and spring. It's a long time to go without fresh vegetables. The solution is our 3 pillars. The first pillar is healthy soil. Now, you know my saying on this channel, healthy soil means healthy plants that give you bigger harvests. In order to be able to grow more than one crop, and in some cases for myself and Mrs. W, it will be 3 crops in the same bed, your soil needs to be in good condition. It needs to have fertility, and it needs to be able to, especially through those summer months when a lot of these plants will be growing, it needs to have good water holding capacity. Of course, we use the no-dig method, and that ensures that our soil remains good and healthy. When your soil is healthy, it is not so much subject to disease. I was listening to our BBC local radio station during the week, and I was actually quite shocked myself. So in the month of April, we should be experiencing around 45 to 50 millimeters of rain during that month. But actually, we have only received 7 millimeters. That's way, way down on where we should be. So that says to me that the soil is going to be dry. It's going to be dusty. And your soil could be being eroded. We've also been experiencing quite strong winds, and that blows your soil away, soil erosion. But with no-dig, you don't experience that soil erosion. It has a nice blanket of compost on top. And here's the thing, remember, we've only had 7 millimeters of rain. Look at this. You can see that the surface is quite dry and it's quite crispy. No shock there. We've had little rain and quite a lot of sunshine. But actually, if I just remove the mulch, look at our soil. It's still damp, and it's still retaining water. That's because when you no-dig, any rain that we do have will trickle down through the compost and into the soil. And there it stays locked. Whereas here, this is where our purple sprouting broccoli has been. It's been there since last June. And of course, we're enjoying all those wonderful harvests right now. But it's had no compost put on it yet. So you can actually see our soil. And look how dry, and look at the effects the sun, the wind, and the rain has had on it. It's completely different. The other thing that really helps you to understand is that the soil life is taking that compost down into your soil all of the time. By the time you get to the end of a 12-month cycle, there's no compost left. I often get asked, you put all that compost on there, but your beds must be raising in height all of the time. No, they don't, because the soil life that's in it is doing what we need it to do. They're taking it down into the soil, and all that fertility is in our soil now for our plants to use and grow big, strong, and healthy with big harvests. Fertility is key. You need 12 months of it if you're going to successfully grow plants all year round. The second pillar is about timing. Timing is the very essence of succession sowing and transplanting. And from what I read in the comments, it's the thing that most people struggle with. So how do we deal with that? I take you back to a comment on Thursday's video. Frank, he mentioned that he'd made some amendments to his schedule. And he was able to do that because he had written down the information from the previous season. And especially if you're new to gardening, you really want to be getting as much information of your gardening year as possible. If you sowed something on such a date, you planted something a month, 6 weeks later, and it harvested at this time, those bits of information really help you when it comes to succession sowing and planting. As an example, this bed here, it had winter cabbages and cauliflower. These are the Oriole cauliflowers. And that's starting to come to their harvest now. Every other day, a new one is ready for us to harvest. 4 weeks ago, I sowed what I wanted to precede this, so those plants would be ready to go in as this bed is cleared. And that's really all it's about. There's no big secret to it. People will often come up with complicated systems, but all you need to be concerned about is when your plants are going to harvest. So, for example, I knew that when we sowed this last May, it would harvest late April and into May. So therefore, whatever is going to replace these, I needed to sow 4 to 6 weeks before, which is exactly what I've done. Broad beans you see here, they were sown last October. And I know from experience, because I've written things down over the years, that when we sow these in October, we'll be harvesting them through May. And usually they are finished by 1st or 2nd week of June. They already have pods forming on them. So, I needed to be thinking to myself, what is going to go in there next? And then I needed to sow that so that those plants would be ready. And what is going to succeed them are squash and sweet corn. I was reminded by Ken last year of something that I used to say, and I don't say that much now, but always be sowing. Always be sowing and always have plants ready. Making the most of your plots and getting the most from them means, once again, you need to have plants ready. Now, this is just an empty strip at the moment, and I can tell you that in here, the purple sprouting broccoli will move from that bed to this bed for this year. But those plants will remain very small for some time. I haven't even sown them yet. They're on our sowing list for the coming week. But by June, they will be in this plot. But to maximise the space, I'm going to plant these Yushu pak choi. And I'm going to plant them down the centre of the bed. And they will use that space while the purple sprouting broccoli is getting going. They don't get monsters like this until January, February the following year. So any catch crops that you can use in any spare space that will mature before your other crops are ready, that's a good practice. In our new no-dig bed, our onions are coming along really nicely, just as I would expect them. And they will harvest sometime in July. For us, it's normally mid-July when our onions are ready to harvest. But onions don't take up a great deal of space. In our 13 Seeds to Sow video at the beginning of the month, I said about sowing the next succession of autumn brassicas, and these will give you harvests from November and December. But probably like a lot of you, my plots are starting to get full. So to make use of the space, what I can do is I can plant the young brassicas through here, and then another row through here. They'll remain relatively small, and they won't even go out until the end of May, beginning of June. And then within a month to 5 weeks, these onions will be gone. The third pillar is varieties. You want to be sowing varieties that will harvest at the right time of the year. No good sowing cabbages and cauliflowers that are due to harvest in the summer months when you want them to harvest in autumn and winter. They grow differently, and they simply won't handle the conditions that they're going to be subject to. As you're looking through the catalogue, look specifically at the time when you can expect their harvest. We go for things like cabbage Savoy Wintessa. We've been harvesting that from January through to March. The cauliflower Triumphant, that gives us harvest in December and January for cauliflower. Aylesmere, that will give you a cauliflower harvest in April, late March and into April. And then there's the Oreo that I just harvested one of. They harvest toward the end of April and through May. Autumn Giant, cauliflower, there's a big clue for you. It's going to harvest in the autumn. And then there is getting clever with your varieties, getting clever with the plants that you're going to grow. Purple sprouting broccoli, the one that you can see in the garden at the moment, is a variety called Claret, and its harvest time is mid-April to mid-May for us. We also grow Rudolph, and we grow early purple sprouting broccoli, so that we have a run of purple broccoli all the way from January through to May. That really does fill the hungry gap. And it means we don't have to grow rows and rows of cabbages and cauliflowers. The other thing is to select varieties like kale, whether it be curly or this Cavolo Nero type. They have a 6-month harvesting window. They just keep giving. Today, I need to sow some Autumn Giant and some best of all cabbages, and we shall be sowing them into this Wild Moor compost. Now, I met these guys at the Garden Press event back in February, you may remember, when I went, and they very kindly sent us some bags to try. It's a peat-free compost, which is exactly what we want, and it's a premium compost. We're not sponsored by these people. They're not paying us to say anything or do anything. They've simply asked us to try the product. And I have to say, I'm really quite impressed with it. It's nice and smooth and fluffy. And like all good compost, it smells really, really good. So I have high hopes for this. So let's get some compost into here. When we make our own compost, you can see there's bits and pieces of perlite that are here. We mix that in. But with this, it's actually got some bits in it that will help with that drainage. It's also really nice and fluffy. So I'm not going to do that here. And as I said, we shall be using this to do all of our succession sowings in. So we shall feed back to you exactly how well this works. As usual, I like to sow 2 seeds per cell. increases the chances of you getting something just thin to the strongest seedling. We're often told on potatoes that you wait until they flower. That indicates that there should be tubers underneath there. It's just a question of what size. But with Swift, they are one of those varieties that don't really flower. So it's not true that all potato plants flower. In fact, I can see by the label, Mrs. W, that they were actually sown on the 31st of January.
Yeah.
And we made a whole video about the succession sowing of potatoes so that you always have fresh potatoes. So let's see exactly what we have got.
Can't wait for these. First potato harvest of the season. Oh, yeah. Look at those beauties. Ooh. Still some more in there. Lovely.
So let's have a look and see what we have got. We have a good yield, Mrs. W.
I can't wait for our meal later this evening.
No.
Go with the new potatoes, asparagus.
Yes.
And I'm going to have nice salmon fillets. Oh, it'll be lovely.
This video was born from your comments, all the comments that you left us regarding succession sowing. So do leave us a comment on this video. If you found it helpful, do give us a thumbs up. If you follow our 3 pillars to succession sowing, you'll be right on track and you can provide more fresh vegetables for yourself and your family. If you're new to our channel and you like what we do, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button and then you'll never miss any upload that we put out there. If you want to know exactly what you could be sowing during the month of May, or if you want to see the succession guide to sowing your potatoes, then watch this video next.